Welcome YouTube, welcome back to Sin City Living. So today on the dice table, I am going to cover come bets slash put bets versus place bets. And I'm just going to talk about what makes the most sense. All right, we see a lot of people that do come bets to varying degrees of success and to varying methods, and the methodology certainly matters. But the come bets themselves, I'm going to show you why I personally, as a dealer, don't like them, or as a player, as a dealer that plays. Now, what a come bet is basically just starting a new game. For most of you guys, if you guys are watching this video and are interested in it, you already know what come bets are. If not, we will have a separate video that is going to just discuss exactly what a come bet is. So I'm going to tailor this towards people that already know what come bets are. So in this case, we're actually going to discuss put bets. Put bets are where you skip the come entirely and you pick your number. Instead of having a come bet that then travels to the next number that's rolled, you will say, I want to put the 9, and you're going to get your flat bet into the 9, and then you can place your odds. Casinos love this because it favors the casino. These bets up here have a higher chance of losing than they do of winning, versus in the come bet, they have a higher chance of winning because the 7 is the most likely number to roll, and they win on a 7. So we're going to look at this first as if we were running on a 3-4-5 table. 3-4-5 odds, strip odds, the more commonly known set of odds. The point is for the player playing the come bets or the put bets has a pass line bet with odds. The player playing the place bets is placing the point on the line. So they're both sticking with the exact same strategies. They have equal amounts of money bet. So we're going to talk about why put bets do not make sense on a 3-4-5 table, or come bets at all. Now this is assuming max odds, because it makes absolutely zero sense to do come bets or put bets with anything less than max odds. It just flat does not make sense. There is no point in doing it, and if you are doing it, you're not very familiar with the game. So max odds, 3-4-5 come bets. Place bets. So let's look at how these pay. Let's say a 10 were to roll, or a 4, which would win on the pass line. The exact same bets. So the player with the come bet is going to win, his $15 odds wins $30 plus his flat bet. So he's going to win $35. So the player with the come bet wins $35. Now they will say, keep me up, otherwise the come bet would come down. But they can say, keep me up. It's called a put bet. They just put the point right back. The player with the $20 place bet, it's going to get paid one of two ways. If this is not a buy yet, depending on the casino, it may not be, this is going to pay $36. If it is a buy, it's going to pay $39. Either one, you will notice, is already making more money than the put bet. Either one. If it's not a buy, it's still making $1 more. If it is a buy, it's making $4 more. So on the 4 and 10, I'm going to leave them in front. The place bet is making more than the come bet. On the 9 or the 5, either one pays the same. 25 pays 35. 20 odds pays 30 plus a $5 flat bet. It's going to pay 35. 6 and 8. The 8. $30 pays 35. 25 pays 30 plus 5. 35. So what you'll notice with put bets is that on the inside numbers, the 5, 6, 8, and 9, they pay the exact same. On the 4 and 10, place bets actually pay more money. So it is more profitable to do the place bets than it is to do the put bets or the come bets. If you're doing standard come bets where you're waiting on the next number to roll, goes into the number, even if you're taking max odds, it still makes more money, more sense to put your money down as a place bet instead, as long as you're betting the same amount of money. And again, it makes absolutely no sense if you do this without doing max odds. So now let's look at this as if you're off strip, you're playing somewhere with a different set of odds. Is there a point where the place bets and the put bets start to differ? Is there a point where come bets start to make more sense? Now again, come bets only make sense if you do max odds. If you're not doing max odds, they make no sense. There's no point in doing it. You're better off placing the point, because flat bet always pays even money, especially if you're going through the come. Because going through the come requires that the number hits twice in order to get paid. Once to set it, the second time to come off and get paid. If you're doing a put bet, it only has to hit once. But with a place bet, you just place it on down. First time it hits, and every time it hits, it's going to win money. So now let's look at this differently. Let's assume we're on a 10 times odds place. That means that every one of these put bets can now have $50 in odds. So what that also means, if we want to keep the same amount of money going, that also means that every one of these place bets at 55. So now, let's see if these are more profitable. Now they're going to place the point, and it would be a buy because it is on the 4, so it would actually come inside. And over here. Now, how do these pay out? Well, let's say a 4 or a 10 roll. Either one. So this 50 pays 100. This 5 pays 5. So the player with the put bet gets paid $105. This place bet, $55 place bet, it's going to have $3 juice. So it's going to pay 110 minus 3, which means it's going to pay $107. 5 and 9. This 50 pays 75 plus 5. This is going to pay $80. 55. This is going to pay $77. Right here, this is going to pay 64. Or 65, I'm sorry, 65. This right here, it's going to pay 64. So, now, at this point, on the inside numbers, on the 6 and 8, your put bet or your come bet with max odds and max odds only on a 10 times table is going to pay $1 more than a place bet would. This, by the way, is an improper place bet, but we want to have the same amount of money at risk. On the 5 and 9, it's going to pay $3 more. The come bet or the put bet. It's going to pay $3 more. It's going to pay 80 versus 77. However, on the 4 and 10, we're still looking at $2 less. So it's not until you reach 10 times odds that put bets start to make a little bit more sense than place bets. You know, put bets or come bets, either one, however you're playing it. That's when they start to make a little bit more sense than the place bets. But if you'll notice, only on the inside numbers. So if you really wanted to take advantage of the absolute best odds, if you're at a 10 times odds place, you would put the 5, 6, 8, and 9, and you would place the 4 and 10. That would give you the best payouts all the way around. Now, let's look at this again under a different scenario. Let's bump the odds up even higher. What if you were at one of those rare places, not super rare, but let's call them uncommon, those uncommon places that has 20 times odds. So now we're looking at $5 flat bet with 100 odds. That also means that we're looking at $105 place bets. Now we're at 20 times odds. Let's take a look at how this is starting to look. All right. So the 4 and 10. 100 is going to pay you 200 plus 5 on your flat bet. You're getting paid $205. You've got $105 place bets. Most places are going to charge you a $5 juice on that. Some places may charge you $6, but most places are going to charge you $5 juice, which means that 105 looks like 210 minus 5, 205. These pay identical. 100 right here is going to pay 150 plus 5, so this is going to pay you $155. Now your place bet over here, 100 is going to pay you 140 plus 7, so now you're at $147. $8 difference. Now you're starting to see a bigger difference. 100 is going to pay you 120 plus 5. This is going to pay you 125. Now this is where you get into an interesting one, because again, this is improper. Okay? 122. 90 pays 105. 15 pays 17. So you're looking at 122. So look at this. Even at 20 times odds, you have a $3 difference in profit here. You have an $8 difference in profit here. You're absolutely identical in profit right here. So even at 20 times odds, which is uncommon, there are a number of casinos around town that have 20 times odds, but it's not super common. The difference between place bets, come bets, and put bets are still very, very, very small. Very small. Now, at this point, it does now make sense to do come bets or put bets. At this point, at 20 times odds, it is either equal or more profitable on all the numbers. When you're less than 20 times odds, it is not equal or more profitable on every number. At 10 times odds, it would be more profitable here to do come bets or put bets, and it's still more profitable on the 4 and 10 to do place bets. Okay. Now, let's look at the final possibility. Because no place has unlimited odds. So let's look at the last potential for your odds. 100 times odds. So now your $5 place bet is going to be 500 in odds. We use these blue $50 checks as 500s because casinos don't generally use $50 checks and we don't have 500s. So now, and this one you'll have to bear with me because I did not run this math in my head yet. So I'm going to have to do it as I go. So $100 odds, or 100 times odds, and there's very few places in town that have 100 times odds. I can only think of 2 off the top of my head. There may be more, but I can only think of 2. So now let's look at the profitability here. If a 10 or a 4 were to roll, 500 pays you 1,000 plus your $5. You're looking at $1,005. Okay. Now here you're looking at $505 place bet. Well, the juice on 500 is $25. Right? They're probably not going to charge you the extra dollar on the on that 5. So we're looking at $25 juice. So we double this to 1,010 and then subtract $25. We are looking at $985. Now, I'm going to run the math on these, but we already know from 20 times, even at 10 times odds, the inside numbers do become more profitable on the come bets. So we already know this is going to be more profitable, but let's take a look at it and see what it is going to pay. 500 is going to pay you $750 plus your 5. This is going to pay you $755. Now, for your place bet, it's going to pay you $707. Very interesting payout. So $707 versus $755. $48 difference, $48 extra in profit. This is going to pay you $605. Now, for 505, it's going to pay you $589. $605, $589. $16 difference. So what you'll notice between come bets / put bets and place bets that even at the highest end, the best odds, the difference is dollars. It's dollars. 5 and 9 ends up having the largest difference between the two, but it's dollars. For people that are playing in the thousands of dollars, really they tend to look at $20, $30, $40 as the way we would look at pennies. But it is a difference. You are getting more profitable at 100 times odds. At 20 times odds, so to recap, at 100 times odds, you are more profitable on every number if you do place bets or come bets, but only if you do max odds. At 20 times odds, you are more profitable on the inside numbers and even on the outside, on the 4 and 10, to do come bets or put bets. But the difference is, again, very small, very incremental. If you're doing put bets, sure. If you're coming through the come, your number has to hit twice in order to get paid. So it makes it even harder to get paid. And at 10 times odds, it's more profitable by a tiny bit inside, less profitable on the 4 and 10 to do put bets or come bets. If you're on a 3, 4, 5 table, it makes absolutely no sense to do come bets or put bets at all. From a dealer's perspective, and as a dealer that plays, from my perspective, at no time, that's not actually entirely true, at almost no time will I ever do put bets. Even if I played on a 100 times table, one, I'm not willing to risk thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on every single roll. But even if I was, I still would not do put bets. I would still do place bets. And the reason for that is because the game is going to flow faster. With put bets and with come bets, they are much slower. They slow the dealer down. There's a lot more process to it, a lot more structure to it. If I tell them, keep me up, keep me up, keep me up, keep me up, then my put bets start to get treated almost like place bets. In which case, the speed of it is probably going to be approximately the same, except they're going to have to think more because this is less common. It's less common, so the dealers are going to have to put in a little bit more thought versus with the place bets, we are almost automatic on those because they are played far more often, especially at the higher dollar amounts. The place bets are played far more often because it tends to be the more experienced players that play at those kind of levels. So very few experienced players do come bets and put bets, except at the 100 times odds point. So that is why myself, personally, I only do place bets. I will do put bets if my place bets have progressed all the way up to table max. If you've watched my videos on the power press method, once I reach table max and I have hit on each number at least once, then I'm more likely to put the number as well so that I can basically get paid twice. Although not every casino will allow that. I know of at least one casino that their table max is the maximum amount of money you are allowed to approach any single number at. So, if you have a place that's a table max of $5,000, you might be able to do a $5,000 place bet on the 9 and then do let's say they're 10 times odds, then do a $500 put bet and a $5,000 odds with that. There's a lot of places that will allow you to do that. You've reached table max on 2 separate bets. They're different bets, so you're basically getting paid twice. You're doubling up, you're double parking. But some places that only allow you to just have a table max as approaching the number. If I did a $5,000 place bet, they would not allow me to do a put bet. If I did a $4,000 place bet, then I'd be able to do a $100 and $1,000 odds, because then I'd be coming at that number from 5,000. So, but that's the only time I personally would ever do a place bet. Or a put bet, I'm always place bets. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments or shoot us an email. Otherwise, please hit the like and subscribe button. This is Sin City Living. I am Jason, and we will see you next time.